Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Perform a division. Can you divide 49 by 7? Act as a barrier between. Stand between. The mountain range divides the two countries. Separate into parts or portions. Divide the cake into 3 equal parts. Force, take, or pull apart. A ridge of land that separates 2 adjacent river systems. Make a division or separation. Come apart. A serious disagreement between 2 groups of people, typically producing tension or hostility. Perform a division. A component of a mixture that has been separated by a fractional process. A small part or item forming a piece of a whole. The quotient of 2 rational numbers. Treat differently on the basis of sex or race. Act as a barrier between. Stand between. Have the connection undone, having become separate. Arrange or order by classes or categories. Become separated into pieces or fragments. Separate into parts or portions. Discontinue an association or relation. Go different ways. The couple separated after 25 years of marriage. Force, take, or pull apart. He separated the fighting children. Divide into 2 or more branches so as to form a fork. Make a division or separation. Go one's own way. Move apart. The friends separated after the party. Standing apart. Not attached to or supported by anything. A house with a separate garage. Mark as different. Come apart. The 2 pieces that we had glued separated. A separately printed article that originally appeared in a larger publication. A garment that can be purchased separately and worn in combinations with other garments. Divide into components or constituents. Independent. Not united or joint. A problem consisting of 2 separate issues. Separated according to race, sex, class, or religion. Separate but equal. Separate into parts or portions. Separate into parts or portions. Having been divided, having the unity destroyed. A split group. Separate into parts or portions. Discontinue an association or relation. Go different ways. My friend and I split up. Separate or cut with a tool, such as a sharp instrument. An opening made forcibly as by pulling apart. An increase in the number of outstanding shares of a corporation without changing the shareholders' equity. They announced a 2-for-1 split of the common stock. The act of rending or ripping or splitting something. Division of a group into opposing factions. Go one's own way. Move apart. Come open suddenly and violently, as if from internal pressure. A bottle containing half the usual amount. A dessert of sliced fruit and ice cream covered with whipped cream and cherries and nuts. A lengthwise crack in wood. He inserted the wedge into a split in the log. An old Croatian city on the Adriatic Sea. A promised or claimed share of loot or money. He demanded his split before they disbanded. Especially of wood, cut or ripped longitudinally with the grain. We bought split logs for the fireplace. Extending the legs at right angles to the trunk, one in front and the other in back. 10-pin bowling. A divided formation of pins left standing after the first bowl. He was winning until he got a split in the 10th frame. Become separated into pieces or fragments. Separate into parts or portions. Discontinue an association or relation. Go different ways. My friend and I split up. Get a divorce. Formally terminate a marriage. An increase in the number of outstanding shares of a corporation without changing the shareholders' equity. Part. Cease or break association with. Force, take, or pull apart. The effort contributed by a person in bringing about a result. The actions and activities assigned to or required or expected of a person or group. The government must do its part. To some extent, in some degree, not wholly. I felt partly to blame. Assets belonging to or due to or contributed by an individual person or group. A portion of a natural object. They analyzed the river into 3 parts. Something less than the whole of a human artifact. The rear part of the house. One of the portions into which something is regarded as divided and which together constitute a whole. The written part of the exam. Discontinue an association or relation. Go different ways. The business partners broke over a tax question. The melody carried by a particular voice or instrument in polyphonic music. He tried to sing the tenor part. Force, take, or pull apart. Moses parted the Red Sea. An item that is an instance of some type. My dog swallowed a Lego part. A line of scalp that can be seen when sections of hair are combed in opposite directions. His part was right in the middle. Leave. The extended spatial location of something. Religions in all parts of the world. Go one's own way. Move apart. The friends separated after the party. Something determined in relation to something that includes it. He wanted to feel a part of something bigger than himself. An actor's portrayal of someone in a play. She played the part of Desdemona. Come apart. That which concerns a person with regard to a particular role or situation. It requires vigilance on our part. A ridge of land that separates 2 adjacent river systems. The entire geographical area drained by a river and its tributaries. An area characterized by all runoff being conveyed to the same outlet. A ridge of land that separates 2 adjacent river systems. An event marking a unique or important historical change of course or one on which important developments depend. The agreement was a watershed in the history of both nations. Work out in detail. Find the solution to a problem or question, or understand the meaning of. Come up with. Do physical exercise. Give a workout to. Make a mathematical calculation or computation. Be calculated. The fees work out to less than $1,000. Happen in a certain way, leading to, producing, or resulting in a certain outcome, often well. Have faith or confidence in. Judge to be probable. Take account of. You have to reckon with our opponents. Expect, believe, or suppose. Deem to be. Make a mathematical calculation or computation. One of the elements that collectively form a system of numeration. Judge to be probable. Be or play a part of or in. Elections figure prominently in every government program. A diagram or picture illustrating textual material. A decorative or artistic work. The property possessed by a sum or total or indefinite quantity of units or individuals. The figure was about 1,000. A well-known or notable person. She is an important figure in modern music. Alternative names for the body of a human being. Imagine. Conceive of. See in one's mind. Language used in a figurative or non-literal sense. Make a mathematical calculation or computation. A combination of points and lines and planes that form a visible palpable shape. A model of a bodily form, especially of a person. He made a figure of Santa Claus. An amount of money expressed numerically. A figure of $17 was suggested. A predetermined set of movements in dancing or skating. She made the best score on compulsory figures. A unitary percept having structure and coherence that is the object of attention and that stands out against a ground. The impression produced by a person. He cut a fine figure. Understand. He didn't figure her. A mathematical element that when added to another number yields the same number. A secret method of writing. Convert ordinary language into code. A message written in a secret code. A quantity of no importance. A person of no influence. Make a mathematical calculation or computation. Make a mathematical calculation or computation. A mathematical element that when added to another number yields the same number. A secret method of writing. Convert ordinary language into code. A message written in a secret code. A quantity of no importance. A person of no influence. Make a mathematical calculation or computation. Predict in advance. Have faith or confidence in. Specifically design a product, event, or activity for a certain public. Judge to be probable. Keep an account of. Make a mathematical calculation or computation. Change in physical makeup. Give an incentive for action. This moved me to sacrifice my career. Be in a state of action. Change location. Move, travel, or proceed, also metaphorically. The soldiers moved towards the city in an attempt to take it before night fell. The act of changing location from one place to another. The movement of people from the farms to the cities. Cause to move or shift into a new position or place, both in a concrete and in an abstract sense. The director moved more responsibilities onto his new assistant. Perform an action, or work out or perform an action. We must move quickly. The act of changing your residence or place of business. They say that 3 moves equal 1 fire. Have a turn. Make one's move in a game. Have an emotional or cognitive impact upon. Follow a procedure or take a course. A change of position that does not entail a change of location. Movement as a sign of life. Progress by being changed. Propose formally. In a debate or parliamentary meeting. Arouse sympathy or compassion in. Her fate moved us all. Change residence, affiliation, or place of employment. We moved from Idaho to Nebraska. Dispose of by selling. The chairman of the company told the salesman to move the computers. Game. A player's turn to take some action permitted by the rules of the game. Go or proceed from one point to another. The debate moved from family values to the economy. Live one's life in a specified environment. She moves in certain circles only. Move so as to change position, perform a non-translational motion. He moved his hand slightly to the right. The act of deciding to do something. He didn't make a move to help. Cause to move or shift into a new position or place, both in a concrete and in an abstract sense. Take the place of or have precedence over. Terminate the employment of. Discharge from an office or position. Cause to move, usually with force or pressure. The refugees were displaced by the war. A course of reasoning aimed at demonstrating a truth or falsehood. The methodical process of logical reasoning. I can't follow your line of reasoning. A slight depression or fold in the smoothness of a surface. His face has many lines. Mechanical system in a factory whereby an article is conveyed through sites at which successive operations are performed on it. A connected series of events or actions or developments. Historians can only point out those lines for which evidence is available. The road consisting of railroad track and roadbed. A conceptual separation or distinction. There is a narrow line between sanity and insanity. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. A conductor for transmitting electrical or optical signals or electric power. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. He's not in my line of business. Make a mark or lines on a surface. Draw a line. Often plural, a means of communication or access. Lines of communication were set up between the two firms. The descendants of one individual. His entire lineage has been warriors. Space for one line of print, 1 column wide and 1/14 inch deep, used to measure advertising. A short personal letter. Drop me a line when you get there. A telephone connection. Be in line with. Form a line along. Trees line the riverbank. The maximum credit that a customer is allowed. A particular kind of product or merchandise. A nice line of shoes. A pipe used to transport liquids or gases. A pipeline runs from the wells to the seaport. A commercial organization serving as a common carrier. Acting in conformity. In line with. A formation of people or things one behind another. The line stretched clear around the corner. A formation of people or things one beside another. The line of soldiers advanced with their bayonets fixed. A fortified position, especially one marking the most forward position of troops. They attacked the enemy's line. A length, straight or curved, without breadth or thickness, the trace of a moving point. A mark that is long relative to its width. He drew a line on the chart. A single frequency, or very narrow band, of radiation in a spectrum. A spatial location defined by a real or imaginary unidimensional extent. Cover the interior of. Line the gloves. Fill plentifully. Line one's pockets. In games or sports, a mark indicating positions or bounds of the playing area. Mark with lines. Sorrow had lined his face. Persuasive but insincere talk that is usually intended to deceive or impress. Let me show you my etchings as a rather worn line. Reinforce with fabric. Lined books are more enduring. Something, as a cord or rope, that is long and thin and flexible. A washing line. Text consisting of a row of words written across a page or computer screen. The letter consisted of 3 short lines. Lay aside, abandon, or leave for another. The car changed lanes. Cause to change, make different, cause a transformation. The discussion has changed my thinking about the issue. Exchange or replace with another, usually of the same kind or category. He changed his name. An event that occurs when something passes from one state or phase to another. The change was intended to increase sales. Become different in some particular way, without permanently losing one's or its former characteristics or essence. Her mood changes in accordance with the weather. Give to, and receive from, one another. Would you change places with me? Become deeper in tone. His voice began to change when he was 12 years old. Change from one vehicle or transportation line to another. She changed in Chicago on her way to the East Coast. A difference that is usually pleasant. It is a refreshing change to meet a woman mechanic. A different or fresh set of clothes. She brought a change in her overnight bag. A relational difference between states, especially between states before and after some event. He attributed the change to their marriage. A thing that is different. He inspected several changes before selecting one. Change clothes. Put on different clothes. Coins of small denomination regarded collectively. He had a pocketful of change. Money received in return for its equivalent in a larger denomination or a different currency. He got change for a 20 and used it to pay the taxi driver. Remove or replace the coverings of. Father had to learn how to change the baby. The action of changing something. The change of government had no impact on the economy. The balance of money received when the amount you tender is greater than the amount due. I paid with a 20 and pocketed the change. The result of alteration or modification. There were marked changes in the lining of the lungs. Undergo a change. Become different in essence, losing one's or its original nature. She changed completely as she grew older. A difference between conflicting facts or claims or opinions. A conflict of people's opinions or actions or characters. The speech act of disagreeing or arguing or disputing. Disagreement among those expected to cooperate. A conflict of people's opinions or actions or characters. The auditory experience of sound that lacks musical quality. Sound that is a disagreeable auditory experience. A conflict of people's opinions or actions or characters. Disagreeable sounds. Pull. A person, a part with 4 horses tied to his extremities, so as to execute him. In the old days, people were drawn and quartered for certain crimes. One of 4 equal parts. A quarter of a pound. The rear part of a ship. Provide housing for military personnel. A district of a city having some distinguishing character. A 4th part of a year, 3 months. Unemployment fell during the last quarter. An unspecified person. He dropped a word in the right quarter. A quarter of a hundredweight, 25 pounds. A quarter of a hundredweight, 28 pounds. A United States or Canadian coin worth 1/4 of a dollar. He fed 4 quarters into the slot machine. A unit of time equal to 15 minutes or a quarter of an hour. It's a quarter till 4. Clemency or mercy shown to a defeated opponent. He surrendered but asked for quarter. Divide by 4. Divide into quarters. Divide into quarters. Quarter an apple. Football, professional basketball, one of 4 divisions into which some games are divided. Both teams scored in the first quarter. One of 4 periods into which the school year is divided. The fall quarter ends at Christmas. One of the 4 major division of the compass. The wind is coming from that quarter. Piece of leather that comprises the part of a shoe or boot covering the heel and joining the vamp. Divide by 2. Divide into halves. Divide, bulk material, and process as units. Separate or classify into units. Make into a unit. Divide, bulk material, and process as units. Separate or classify into units. The hospital was unitized for efficiency. Make into a unit. Unitize a car body. Divide into paragraphs, as of text. This story is well paragraphed. One of several distinct subdivisions of a text intended to separate ideas. The beginning is usually marked by a new indented line. Write about in a paragraph. All her friends were paragraphed in last Monday's paper. Write paragraphs. Work as a paragrapher.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.